Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Christina McNeil, and this is NB12 for Monday, December 3rd, 2012, broadcasting from the Cable12 studios on Robinson Road. In news tonight, the firestorm surrounding the director and chairman at the National Insurance Board heats up. The former and the current prime ministers give their take on the whole controversy. Family members, friends, and others remember the late Thomas A. Robinson at the stadium named in his honor. Residents of Sunlight Village say their community has been neglected, and an oil spill outside Freeport Harbor. We have those stories and much more coming up tonight. Your NB12 starts right now. Thanks for joining us. The NIB controversy has been making headlines for days now, with the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition weighing in on the serious allegations. And today, the man who had ministerial responsibility for the institution during the last political term is voicing his opinion. Nikia DeVoe spoke exclusively with former Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham about what is emerging out of NIB.
Although he's been out of public life since he resigned as leader of the FNM, Hubert Ingraham has been keeping a close watch on NIB developments. He told us today that he's not surprised by the turmoil that has gripped the National Insurance Board.
I'm just following it like everybody else. But nothing that happens in this government in terms of unethical or corrupt behavior surprises me. The public didn't believe me. They will see as time goes on.
Ingraham was responding to concerns relating to NIB Chairman Gregory Moss's use of an NIB-issued credit card and his approval of a medical procedure for a Grand Bahama resident that was outside NIB's policy and the National Insurance Act and regulations, as well as serious allegations about the Move NIB investments and handling of the Social Security Fund's other important duties. NIB Director Algernon Cargill documented those claims and others in an affidavit in support of legal action against NIB and Moss. Last month, Moss made serious allegations against Cargill, who was placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of an independent audit. Ingraham said he is satisfied with his stewardship as the former minister responsible for NIB, and he is also satisfied that when his administration left office, NIB was in good shape.
There's no evidence whatsoever, none whatsoever, that's come out that says that. We don't do business like that. I hired Cargill. I thought he did a wonderful job for NIB. We had to correct much of the mess we met in place that took place between 2000 and 2007, and we left the place in good shape. And they've screwed it up in a short period of time. But that's not unexpected from my point of view. That's them, okay? That's what they do best.
Meantime, Prime Minister Perry Christie admitting today that he did receive Cargill's letter sent on October 8th, highlighting several troubling issues at NIB. Cargill's affidavit indicates that Christie never responded to the letter that requested an urgent meeting to discuss NIB chairman's attack on the character and good name of NIB executives. That letter was also filed in court. Christie said there was too much negative back and forth at the time.
Mr. Cargill wrote to me. The minister spoke to me about Mr. Cargill. The chairman spoke to me about Mr. Cargill. I'm not prepared at this stage to speak, but it was just a lot of negatives on both sides, and that the action was taken with respect to Mr. Cargill.
Christie says the question now is how he will handle this matter. Yesterday, opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis called for Moss to resign or be fired, or at the very least be sent on administrative leave. Christie said as Minister of Finance, Bahamians can expect him to make the right decision.
I will respond in the right way at the right time, and that might be today, it might be tomorrow, but I will respond.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Nikia DeVoe.
In other news, Prime Minister Christie today standing by Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslay's appointment of Assistant Commissioner Stephen Seymour, saying the country needs experienced officers on the front lines. Celeste Nixon has this report.
Amid criticism of the recent appointment of Stephen Seymour to the post of Assistant Commissioner of Police, Prime Minister Perry Christie threw his support behind the move, saying Seymour will contribute greatly to the fight against crime.
Additionally, the Prime Minister said he didn't notice any public chatter when many good police officers
Officers he said could still have much to contribute to the country were dismissed from the force or pushed into early retirement during the Ingraham administration.
The first point I'd like to make is that everyone who's opened their mouth, where were they when unceremoniously a large number of police officers were dismissed or retired from the force, people who had not reached the retirement age, and I could call their names. Did these people make any comment at all, or are they just opening the mouth now? Secondly, I am satisfied when the commissioner applied to me with the responsibility of doing it. He was applying for someone who's going to go on the front line to fight crime in this country.
Seymour, a former chief superintendent, recently served as director of security for the now closed City Market chain of supermarkets. He returned to duty shortly after the Progressive Liberal Party took office in May. Last Wednesday, the police force announced Seymour's promotion, which took effect July 1, 2012. Seymour is now in charge of operational support services with responsibility for the Mobile Patrol Division, the Prosecutions Department, the Selective Enforcement Team, Special Response Unit, and the Traffic Department. Christie said he has faith in Police Commissioner Alison Greenside's decision and supports Seymour in his senior post.
I reject out of hand. The commissioner made a recommendation. I have great respect for him. I encourage him to do it. I support him in doing it. I support Stephen Seymour unstintingly. I expect Stephen Seymour, because of the criticism, to be able to demonstrate just how good he is and how effective he is when working together collaboratively with the other police officers. I have no problem whatsoever.
The Free National Movement has criticized Seymour's promotion, calling it a case of favoritism. In a statement issued by F&M Chairman Darren Cash last week, the opposition said the Prime Minister bypassed established police protocols in order to advance the career of one of Christie's closest allies and confidants. Prime Minister Christie said, however, that Seymour is an experienced police officer and this is not an issue for the Free National Movement to be dividing the country over.
And F&M shouldn't do that because these are people who are out there trying to protect them too. You know, they shouldn't be dividing the country over something like that, for God's sake.
It is alleged that Seymour is replacing Assistant Commissioner Glenn Miller. The promotion has reportedly upset some other senior officers who say Seymour should not have been eligible for the position because he previously left the police force for another job. Reporting for MB12, I'm Celeste Nixon.
And sports hero Thomas A. Robinson laid in state today in the foyer of the stadium that bears his name. One by one, family members, friends, dignitaries, students, and members of the public took a moment to view his body. Prime Minister Christie spoke with members of the family, telling them how big a role their loved one played in his life and the development of the country. Opposition leader Hubert Minnis also comforting the family. Former Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham applauded the government for planning a well-deserved send-off for the track legend.
Tommy Robinson in 1958 gave the people of this country an opportunity to feel that they were Bahamians. We were not then, we were a colony of the United Kingdom. But he gave us an opportunity to believe in ourselves.
I think the government is doing the appropriate thing to give him a state-recognized funeral. He deserves it. These things should not only be given to politicians and public officials, but for others who are major contributors to the society. And in sports, Tommy was that. He trained lots of people, spent lots of time and his money and energy. He is known all over the world. He put us on the map.
Tears flowed freely as those who knew Robinson best embraced each other and shared their fondest memories of the man who inspired a nation. His children, colleagues, athletes all said they were influenced by Robinson in some way.
It's one of the simple things that you really don't understand, I guess, think about until a time like this. Him taking us to school in the morning. And it is something that I truly look back now and I reflect because, you know, I do that with my kids, taking them to school every day. And it was time when we just had time to talk. He picked us up from school, we just had time to talk about whatever it was, so those are fond memories.
And he was a great cheerleader, always giving advice and being able to mentor me, not as an athlete, but as a person who has accomplished so much, and so that's my fondest memories of him today.
How passionate he was about young people and education and training, and him just saying, you know, I'm proud of you guys, man. I'm really proud of all of my boys. That's a great thing from a great man.
A memorial is being held at this hour at the National Stadium. Robinson will be funeralized on Wednesday at Christ Church Cathedral.